Hi, this video was brought to you by WomenIN and Calgary's Business, which is featured on MegaPixx. We hope you enjoyed the video.
Guys, welcome. Thank you so much for connecting with us. This is WomenIN's Wednesday webinars. Don't try to say that fast. We're going to give a brief outline of what we're going to do, and then we're going to provide some housekeeping info. We're going to introduce the sponsors. We're going to tell you a little bit about WomenIN, and then we're going to get to these amazing ladies who are about to speak to you guys today. Today's topic is the self-care on health, nutrition, physical health. So we really want to focus in on that today. Housekeeping. First, most of you have your cameras off. Thank you. Please be on mute. Absolutely, that's great. If you have any questions, we really want you, use that chat. Get in the chat. We're going to monitor it. We're going to bring your questions forth. This is your opportunity to interact with these amazing ladies and experts and get one-on-one amazing advice. So use that chat. We are also recording. So by staying here, you agree to being recorded. And thank you to Artin and MegaPixx for that. So with that, let's get into our sponsors. We want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors. These guys are giving us so much value. We have Tricon Solutions, Solve Strips, Matthew Kellerman. We have Enta Solutions, ELF Solutions, ELF Solutions, if you will, Codwell Banker Complete Real Estate, Transcend Management Advisors, Your Soul Beyond, MegaPixx Media, and Calgary Business. So just so you guys do know, go to womenin.ca, become a member if you're not. It's only $40 a year. That gives you access to all of our sponsors' amazing prizes and coupons and discounts. And honestly, guys, just this one webinar series, 10 times over the price of membership is the value of a single prize even. So so worth it. Go there and do that. Who are WomenIN? If you don't know already, let's tell you about it. We're a 2020 Calgary founded group that prepares women to transform the future by bringing the strength of the highest self to every single day. We align with women that are 20 plus with our huge hub of services, events, networking, and leadership. So it's an awesome group to be a part of. Please join us. So let's get into today's panel. Today's panel is Kelsey Davidson, Megan Barefoot, and Kelly Summers. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of these awesome experts. Kelsey Davidson is the owner of a live fit set to empower and strengthen trainer and life coach. That's a complete package there, guys. She strongly believes in the power of connecting the mind, body, and spirit while strengthening yourself inside and out. Over the last decade, Kelsey has dedicated herself to women's health within in-person seminars and sessions into her. Everything's online now, guys. Okay. She delivers full-length workout videos and support in this app, so you got to check that out. In all of her Feel Alive. Awesome. When she's not doing that, you can find Kelsey doing spectacular hikes with her family in the Rockies and on Vancouver Island. So welcome, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Next, we have Megan Barefoot. She's the owner of No Shoes Nutrition. Megan graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in University of Windsor and worked as a professional geologist for over 10 years. When her daughter was born with gut issues and inconsolable pain, she was told by the doctors that she could put her on some adult medication or wait it out. As a mother's love and devotion and sleepless nights of research, she was not okay with this. She found a solution, and the nutritional information she found was so powerful on the effects of the whole family. She had to learn more. So she switched careers. She studied across North America with some of the best leaders and teachers in natural nutrition, gut and psychology syndrome to obtain all of her certifications. Megan loves nutrition, but isn't a big fan of cooking. So she likes to keep it practical. When she's not working, Megan also enjoys hanging out in the mountains with her two daughters and husbands.
Just
husband. Sorry, Megan. All right, Kelly Summers, welcome. She is the owner of Summertime Health. She graduated from Mount Royal University with a Bachelor of Nursing in 2007. With a passion for preventative medicine and nutrition, Kelly went on to complete Advanced Nutrition Diploma, and became Certified Holistic Nutrition. Her passion to help women over 30 find simple ways to enhance their health by empowering and supporting them to make small changes to claim the energy and health they deserve without having to completely sacrifice their current lifestyle. Yeah, I get it. We're busy, right? She gets it. so much because she's been there. So, you know, Kelly loves her Saturday morning walks to Starbucks with her husband, as well as spending time with her family, especially her sister and her 5-year-old nephew. Welcome, ladies. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Caitlin. And thank you, ladies, again for joining us today. And thank you to everyone who's here for the webinar today. It means a lot to have you all here. So we're going to start off with the first question. In each of your opinion, what is the #1 advice you'd give someone starting the path or their journey to health, or restarting it, as many of us often do? Kelsey, do you want? Kelsey, sure.
I'll start. The #1 goal and kind of my #1 rule is to be patient and kind with yourself. Don't expect yourself to be where you were when you left off, but also like just allow, like there's going to be hiccups. You're starting fresh, and just be patient and kind. Think of yourself like an 8-year-old girl. What would you say to that self? You're not going to say that to them, you suck. You're going to say, just keep going, just keep moving. Show that patience behind it.
I totally agree with Kelsey. I think we as women are so hard on ourselves. We say kind things to each other all the time, and we don't necessarily say those things to ourselves. So one of the things I always tell my clients is every time you see your reflection, say something nice to it.
Yeah.
Give it a compliment. I think it's really important. Some of the advice that I would give a new client, either just starting out on this journey or coming back to it, would be go slow. Don't try and expect yourself to go from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour all in 1 week. Do little baby steps along the way, and those baby steps will add up to big change over time, over even a very short period of time. Listen to your body. It will give you feedback. It will let you know when you can go a little faster and when you need to pull back a little bit. And I love that Kelly talks about women and our energy levels, and we're giving all the time. We have to really watch our energy levels and really make sure that we are giving to ourselves as well. And one of the best ways I can do that is feed yourselves real healthy food to get the most energy we can out of the foods that we eat. So that's my advice.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. My biggest thing is small, realistic changes that fit into your lifestyle now is going to guarantee you success in the long term. All of us ladies have seen it over and over again, I'm sure, with our clients, jumping into whatever the latest fad or, something super, super strict. And it's just, you get overwhelmed. It's not going to work for the long term. And so just knowing that even if it's a small change you make once a week, it's really going to continue on and you can build from there. And also just agreeing with the fact that you do need to be gentle with yourself. We all go through times of stress and, where we're not able to maybe take care of ourselves as much as we wanted, but as long as you kind of get rid of that all or nothing mentality and stick with it. And also just, trying not to focus so much on numbers, but feeding yourself those, really whole, healthy foods that make you feel good, fuel your body, is the most important thing in the long run.
I always suggest those non-scale victories too, right?
Yeah.
So we don't attach to a number, we attach to that's why I have a live. We attach to a lifestyle or a goal. If it's chasing your kid up the stairs without being winded, then that's what your goal is, right? Or if it's being able to make that salad and include 5 different vegetables, that's a learning lesson and something that you've accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely. Too much of the focus on numbers when I was working with people with severe obesity, and because part of the organization that I worked for, weighing and measuring was part of it, and it was just really hard to change people's focus from that number to say, well, hey, maybe the number isn't what you thought it would be or expected it, but what are those things that you really noticed? And exactly, if you can get up the stairs without being winded, you can get on the floor to play with your kids and get up, with no problem. Those are really the things to focus on for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I think one other component, sorry, Kelsey, I think that one other component when it comes to numbers is we have to remember that we have a relationship with food. It's not like we can get by without it, and we need to nurture that relationship. And those numbers make it so cut and dry, and not there's like, you don't get to bring our emotions into it. So those emotions end up somewhere else in our lives, like snapping at your kids or your husband or things like that, right? We don't want to end up also binging when we are all those emotions build up. And I find especially people who have eating disorders, focusing on the numbers can be very detrimental to that relationship with food.
Yeah.
Change is hard, right? Like change is not easy. And there is some component of fear in all of us when it comes to changing anything in our lives, even the way we eat. I mean, we got through yesterday without a problem. Our body, our mind is like, we did fine yesterday. Like, why would you change anything today? We survived, we're here. But I feel like if we acknowledge that fear of change and we move through it anyway, we do it anyway, because we know better, then I feel like we'll even get stronger on the inside, emotionally and mentally, as well as physically.
That's awesome. I do have a question actually based on something you brought up, Kelly, on stress. How does stress play into this overall health? I'm sure this is a loaded question, but I know I speak for myself and probably for a lot of women out there. Stress is like a normal part of our lives. And I can definitely feel when I'm bogged down by stress, and then, you know, my cravings are worse. My motivation to work out is just gone, like that kind of stuff. So how can you, I guess, be aware and manage through that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And knowing the difference between a chronic stress versus acute stress. I experienced last week, my house was broken into. And so it's been a week of just this acute stress. And even myself, like noticing just lack of motivation to keep up with my routine, right? So I think one thing that gets me through, and a lot of people that I work with find, is planning ahead no matter what's going on. So just to give you an example, if I make my lunch, I'll make it for the entire week just so that it's there, it's easy to grab, and then there's no excuse just to say, oh, I'm too stressed, I'm just going to grab, you know, something maybe that's not as healthy or not going to give me the energy. And that also is a big thing, because when we are going through the stress, it is really, really important that we try to give ourselves what we need. And, you know, everybody's a bit different. I, you know, personally don't have much of an appetite when I'm going through acute stress. Other people, maybe it's the opposite way. So just kind of knowing that whichever end you're on, trying to find like the middle ground and the balance as best as you can. But yeah, acute stress especially affects us big time. And then, you know, chronic stress, like just being busy, like most of us are, is just really important. Again, to plan ahead, do what you can, and really, really try to shift your focus from all or nothing mentality, right? So maybe you didn't make a healthy choice at lunch. It's okay, just make a healthy choice at the next snack or meal, as opposed to saying, oh, well, I messed up today, I might as well just keep doing whatever and I'll start again tomorrow. So yeah.
Another part of, like, I like to, for everyone that, like, if you say this statement, like, I'm stressed, to take that step back and see, like, are you stressed? Because sometimes it's a really good crutch. And I know that we all have lots of different stresses in our life, but sometimes it's a really good crutch for us to lean on. So when you're looking, oh, I'm so stressed, it's like, yeah, you have a day full of meetings. Is that stressed or is that blessed? What is the difference, right? And so looking at it a little bit differently, because the word stress can also associate a lot of guilt and expectations, and just that heaviness of that expectation to be stressed and move like the hamster on the wheel. So taking that step back and assessing, where are you stressed, or what are the stress triggers, and looking at from there where you might actually be blessed more than stressed.
I love that, Kelsey.
Yeah, I love that shift. I think that's huge. Oh, we had a question come in. I think I'm fairly healthy, but are there signs I should watch out for that tells me I'm maybe not as healthy as I thought?
Your poop. Sorry.
I love it. Go on.
I am a mom and I'm very open, and like your poop will tell you so much more than lots of textbooks. Right? Like
It's very true.
So
Yeah.
on that, what are there specifics without getting into too many over lunch details that we should be looking for?
Okay, I'll talk. The S shape, you want an S-shaped poop or a J-shaped poop. If you have like little rabbit poops or little ball, like that's a sign of dehydration. We hold a lot of stress into our intestines and in our colon. And so if you don't poop for a day or two and you're also super stressed, you know, there could be a correlation happening. Or if you're fatigued, you know, you just want those bowels moving as much as possible.
Yeah.
We also hold an entire ecosystem in our gut called the microbiome. And there's good gut bugs and there's bad gut bugs. If you want to really evaluate your stool very close, have a look at the Bristol stool chart, and it will tell you a little bit about what a healthy poop should look like and what the other types of poop are that maybe you've been told are your normal and they're maybe not so normal. We really want to nurture and feed that microbiome in our gut, and that will also help with all of our health, our overall health, even mitigating stress symptoms and things like that. So the signs and symptoms your body will give you all the time are going to give you clues into what your body needs to eat. And you can kind of understand your body if we start to learn to listen to our body and what our body's telling us.
And just to add to that, because
Yes.
the biggest thing is, like you said, listening to your body and knowing that if there's even something small you're just not sure about, you need to talk to somebody, whatever health professional that may be for you, your doctor, your naturopath, you know, whoever. But if you are concerned, you really need to be an advocate for your own health, and don't let anyone else tell you that it's normal or it's okay. My sister, ultramarathon runner, 33 years old, healthy, had symptoms for 2 years, diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer that spread to her liver. And all because she went to the doctor and they kept saying, it's just IBS, you know, don't worry about it. Maybe here's some pain meds, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, like that's not normal. And I'm sure the other girls would agree with me too when it comes to IBS. Well, what is the root of the cause? Why are your bowels irritated? You know, you kind of got to dig deeper, and don't be afraid, you know, to go get a second, third, fourth opinion if you have to. We really need to advocate for ourselves.
I think that's so important. That's great. Okay, next question. Cardio or strength training, is one better than the other? Does one serve a different purpose as far as your overall health than the other? If this is your goal, then you should be strength training. If this is your goal, it should be cardio focused. Are there any thoughts or suggestions on that side?
Move your body, right? I mean, again, they're both really important for a number of different reasons that all of us, I'm sure, could go on and on about, but moving your body and being consistent, consistency is way more important than duration or intensity. And knowing that you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. You know, I know tons of people who go to these high intensity classes, which look like lots of fun, but they're not for me personally. And if it's going to risk you being injured, you're going to be off for months afterwards, and it's just not worth it. So move your body, however that is for you.
I totally agree with what Kelly's saying, and move your body doing something you love. Because if you find something you love, an activity you love to do, you're going to do it. You're going to want to do it. Also, the HIIT workouts and the cardio and the strength training might not feel great for your body. So like Kelly was saying, she doesn't love the HIIT workouts. They're not great for her. If your stress levels are really high, doing a HIIT workout can just increase your stress hormones, and you will actually feel worse afterwards, or it will take you a really long time to recover. I love walking. I love hiking. I love getting outside. Those are the things that call to me. Those are the things that I'm going to want to do all the time. They're not going to increase my stress levels. I also think strength training, especially for us women, is really important because it's the only way we can build bone as we age, is to build muscle. And I don't want to be a weak 80-year-old. I want to be strong and fit. I want to be skiing those slopes. I want to stay fit as long as I can. And if that means I need to do some strength training every once in a while, even though it's maybe not my favorite thing to do it, I'm going to call Kelsey and I'm going to get on her program and I'm going to get there and I'm going to do some weight training because that's what my body needs for me to get to my goal of living to 110, right? So
I think it's also like a teeter-totter effect. And it's that middle ground that where you find your own balance. And if that is doing one cardio session a week and then 2 strength training, or if it's 2 strength training and 2 cardio, whatever that balance is for you. But I feel like they're all super important for numerous reasons, like Megan said, with the bone structure. Heart diseases are unfortunately on the rise with men and women in North America, and yes, primarily in America, but it's going to sneak up to Canada. So we really do need to take care of our heart muscles. And so I feel like it's just finding that balance and understanding that fitness doesn't have to be the conventional go to Fit for Less or Good Life or your local fitness place and do their workout and do this. Like, you can find different ways. Like, if you're on the 5th floor, do 1 set of stairs every week or twice a week, right? And that can count as your cardio. Like, find unconventional ways to involve your workout to be able to consistently strength train and work on your cardio throughout the week.
And fit into your life, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation on how often we should be strength training to maintain that bone density as we age?
I personally say strength training should be, and I don't like to say should be because then it's like, that's that guilt and that association with it. But optimally 2 to 3 times a week, lifting a little bit heavier and a little bit harder to challenge those muscles, right? Even if it's a 2 pound, 5 pound, 8 pound weight, like, you work in your own range of motion.
Yeah, when we talk strength training, it doesn't mean like deadlifts with big barbells and things like that. Like Kelsey said, it can be just a little bit of weight, like 2, 5, work yourself up to 8 or 10 pounds. We don't have to go to like a heavy lifting and have spotters, and unless that's your goal, and then that's fun too. But yeah, I just walk around my basement and, do a little dancing in the kitchen with my weights. It's fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Make it fun, because then you'll do it, right?
Yeah. And I think too, there's, a couple of things that Megan touched on as well, is I think sometimes there needs to be more awareness around over-exercising for a number of reasons, because exercise, we also have to think back to, caveman days. When we ran or, did something high intensity or for a long time, it was because we were running from a predator. It's that fight or flight. So it's not always a good thing. And again, I know everybody's different, and some people love running and this and that. And if it works for you and it makes you feel good, and that was the other thing I wanted to say too, listening to your body when it comes to exercise, because not everyone is built for that. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes when you work out, for a long period of time or high intensity, sometimes it does the opposite of what you want to. That was something I noticed for myself. Running, even though I enjoyed it, it actually did the opposite of what I wanted it to do. And it can cause some potential inflammation as well in your body. So just always remembering those things too.
Does doing the same workout over and over end up not being beneficial? So is there a muscle memory there that after a while those workouts become not as effective?
Yeah, unfortunately, like, you do need to challenge your body. So you could do the same workout. So for example, you could start doing wall push-ups, and then you could advance to knee push-ups, and then you could advance to toe push-ups, and then elevated. Same workout, but you're just challenging yourself differently. but doing the exact same, it really doesn't benefit you anymore. But also what starts to happen is there's a disconnect. And so you're just doing the exercise without being intentional with engaging the muscles and engaging the supporting muscles and your core, right? Because you're just doing it. It's like when you write, we just write now. Even texting, you probably know where the M is on your phone without even feeling it. Unfortunately, that's just muscle memory, and that's just, you're disconnected from putting intention behind it.
So would that also help push past a plateau? There was another question on hitting a plateau and how to get past that plateau.
So many, I feel like that's a loaded question. I don't know about Megan and Kelly. I feel like plateaus are such a loaded question, because when you hit a plateau, it could be like Kelly said about running, like, is this actually a beneficial exercise, or has my body tapped out from it, right? Megan can attest, like, through working out or training, I also discovered like my cycle was thrown out of whack 6 months into my ultra marathon training, which I didn't see in a regular marathon training. So I think that's a loaded question with our bodies, how frequently they do change, like with our cycles, with our ages every year, with food.
We also have to discuss what a plateau is exactly, because we have to keep in mind that we always hear in the media, 2 pounds a week, 2 pounds a week, 2 pounds a week if you're trying to lose weight. And real, sustainable, honest to goodness weight loss does not happen that way. In fact, the graph doesn't just go like this, it goes like this. And as long as like you're on a trend, in the downward trend, you're moving in the right direction, your lifestyle is moving in the right direction. If you're doing this and you're coming straight down and then plateauing, that tells me that all of this straight down was not done in a healthy way, and your body is now adjusting. So we need to really consider what that plateau is. Is it your body doing a little adjustment? Is it your body sitting where it's comfortable right now, and we need to change something up with regards to your physical activity or your nutritional way of eating? What's next for you? And do we need to reevaluate your goals? How do you feel? Or how are you feeling right now? Is this a good place for you right now? So there's a lot of things that go into a plateau when I hear that. And have you been sitting at this plateau for like a week or two, or like a year? So that's another consideration.
That's a good question too. So along the same lines as needing to change up your workouts, do you need to change your food as well? Is there a point where certain foods are less beneficial for you and you should switch that up as well?
I am all over this, because for sure you need to change up your food. Variety is the key of life, right? Well, if you're getting the same nutrients all the time from, because you're eating the same foods all the time, cooked in the same way, your body may be telling you it needs something else to get to that next level. And you need to really evaluate, your macronutrient balance and your nutritional intake and how things are going. I'm not a big numbers person either. I just like to switch things up, because variety, like, let's try something new. Let's try new food. Let's get a new spice in there. Let's try messing around with our water. Maybe you're not having enough water. It's summer now. It was winter before. Like, there's all kinds of things we play around with. Absolutely.
I think also, like, Mother Nature tells us, and we are very connected as women to Mother Nature. And so as she goes through the seasons, we do too. So eating that Greek salad in February and -40 might not fulfill you the same nutritionally and spiritually and soulfully compared to how it felt in July. Okay?
Yeah, it's true. And again, listening to your body, because your body really will tell you those things, and there is something to be said for reaching for those comfort foods in the fall and winter. Now, obviously, we can make those comfort foods a lot healthier than what maybe some of us think are comfort foods. But, those warm soups and stews and chilies in the fall and winter really, they just make you feel good overall. So paying attention to your body is a big one.
Awesome. More questions coming in. I find that after a few months of workouts, even if I feel that I have an increased intensity, I struggle with tight muscles and sore deep tissues. Any suggestions on that side?
Again, it's going to be that balance of strength training. And then if you are prone to tight muscles, incorporating some yoga or stretching. Stretching in the morning is always a fantastic idea. Megan probably can talk highly about this for your metabolism and getting your body moving, as well as Kelly. But yeah, just stretch it out. Like, take the time, give yourself the time for stretching. Don't finish your workout and become a mom or businesswoman right away. Give yourself that time for stretching and just relaxing and like celebrating your workout.
Yeah. And looking too at, again, your nutrition can also cause some of this muscle tightness and cramping, and just, this is when it is important, especially if you are having continuous issues with this, to discuss it with, a nutritionist, a dietitian, whoever, because it's not always that simple. So you might be missing some nutrients that you have no idea you're missing, and could make all the difference in the world.
Excellent. I have hypothyroid, which makes it very, very hard to maintain and lose weight. Do I need specialized training?
Strength training, yes, I would definitely suggest. Hypothyroid, it could, hypothyroid is a whole beast in itself. There could be adrenal gland issues. And unfortunately, when there's adrenal gland issues, having a really super intense workout will actually fatigue you more. And then it'll kind of be more harm than help in that situation. So it would definitely, definitely a specialized training plan with working with someone with food and with strength training would be ideal.
Hypothyroid, so the thyroid controls your metabolism, it controls your energy level, it controls your calcium uptake as well. So for anyone with hypothyroid, I highly recommend a really specific, not specific, but a very regimented, in a way, strength training. Like, you should really be making the effort to do that 3 times a week, like Kelsey said, because you're going to have your calcium levels in your body affected. For eating and for weight loss, yes, it's going to be harder. Does it mean that it's impossible? Absolutely not. And if it is or feels overwhelming or impossible, then I highly recommend you work with someone who has worked with hypothyroid people before and have seen what they need. There's certain nutrients that are really important to support the thyroid, and it's going to depend on your level of hypothyroid and whether or not you still have your thyroid or whether it's been removed, a whole bunch of factors. So talking to a specialist can be very, very powerful for your goals, for sure.
And that's where it is important to be open to like complementary holistic medicine as well. I mean, I'm a nurse, so I really believe in the two sides together, because absolutely, conventional medicine has certain ideas and solutions, but complementing that with, someone who specializes, like Megan and Kelsey as well, in that holistic nutrition, training, everything together. So I think just being open to knowing that one person is not going to have the answer, that you need a number of people to help get you to your goals.
That's awesome. So the person that sent that question in said they didn't even know about the impact on calcium from hypothyroidism. So that was awesome. Thank you. I have a question. How do hormones play into this? Like, I know for me personally, around leading up to my cycle and the first couple of days, it's really difficult for me to work out. Like, should we be changing our workouts around our cycles, or as like menopause starts coming, those types of things? If we're having hormonal issues, does that impact how we should be working out and eating? Maybe another loaded question. All of those today.
We could have a whole webinar on this topic.
Oh, maybe we should.
Yeah, cycles and hormones is wonderful. for us regular Joes, definitely just be a little bit more patient and kind as your period comes or whatnot. And also notice that like come week 2, you're going to have a spike in energy, and just start to really track and be aware of it all. There are numerous athletes, women athletes, that stage their events in certain weeks of their cycles for them to optimally use their cycle to their advantage.
Wow.
So for us average Joes, I'd say you can keep going, but be aware if something's a little bit harder, maybe cut it 10 minutes short and do your extra stretching, right? And just listen to the body as much as possible. Just be kind and patient, right? Our bodies literally change every week.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, another question. We're getting a lot of questions about things like paleo, keto, low carb, high protein diets. Excuse me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the difference of those. And is one better than the other? Are these even viable options we should be considering? I'd love to hear your questions there, or your thoughts there.
The best diet is no diet.
That's a dirty word.
Yeah. I mean,
I love it.
yeah, if you look up the definition of diet, it simply is kind of food. But when it comes to dieting, and again, I mean, this is great because I know Megan and Kelsey, we're all on the same page. But with a diet, there's always an endpoint. Most likely, it's super restrictive in one area or another, and that's where all of your focus goes. Personally, I don't understand why you want to torture yourself. I can't do this or I can't eat that and I'm cranky and this and that. But really coming down to listening to your body, because if we don't feed it what it needs, and again, that's a big word, what it needs, but when it comes to nutrients and all of that good stuff, if you don't give it what it needs, you're just going to have increased cravings, and you might mistake those cravings for, going for the unhealthier version of food. But honestly, it always comes down to balance. And if we, like Megan was saying, if we lose weight too quickly, our bodies actually don't know the difference between, oh, we're trying to diet versus we're starving. And if we lose weight too quickly, our bodies literally thinks it's dying, and it's going to do everything that it can to stop that from happening quickly. So, and a big example, because I used to work at the bariatric specialty clinic. So some of my clients ended up with going through and having bariatric surgery. And even with that, because there are no real long-term studies, you can't outsmart the human body. Even if you've had bits of your stomach and GI tract removed or constricted, whatever it is, your body is so smart, and it's going to do everything that it can to stop you from losing weight quickly. So, people will be like, oh, well, I'm just going to do this because I'm getting ready for a trip or a wedding or whatever it may be, and think that it's harmless. It's not. It can be very, very harmful. And you really stop listening to your body, and you kind of push through. You're feeling cranky, you're tired, you can't deal with your normal day-to-day things, you're snapping at your kids, your children, right? Like, that's a huge sign to say, this is not healthy. So, but again, we could all go on and on for days about this.
I think that we forget that we're all very biochemically unique. Caitlin's not the same as me, who's not the same as Kelsey, who's not the same as Kelly. Like, we're all very, very, we have different levels of chemicals and nutrients in our body at any given state. Also, my metabolism is different than other people's metabolism. And just because my sister, who I have a twin sister, lost, 80 pounds on the keto diet, that doesn't mean it's going to feel good for me. And honestly, it doesn't mean she feels good because she did it. It means that she lost 80 pounds. So that's our measure of healthy. It's not necessarily that it is healthy. The way people ask me all the time, low carb, high fat, like, what do you think? And I'm like, what is your body telling you? You have to listen to your body. Like, I know I go through periods of time, and in the spring, for example, I don't eat heavy foods. It's more of a detoxing, very plant-based kind of time. It's what nature gives us at that time. And I try to eat with the seasons, like Kelsey was talking about. In the winter, I probably will tend towards more of the meat and potatoes, like a nice roast beef stew right now. It's snowing outside, it's freezing. I'm thinking roast beef stew for dinner tonight, you know, carrots and root vegetables and things like that. That's what nature's giving me right now to prepare my body for winter, the long winter's nap or long winter's freeze, right? When nature's not giving a lot. The thing we forget, because we have a grocery store that we can go to and just get whatever we want and whatever's available, is that we forget what Mother Nature, and like Kelsey said, we're very connected to Mother Nature. We forget that Mother Nature gives us these cues, and if we listen to our body, it will tell us when we need a little more fat, when we need a little more protein, when we need a little more carbs, when our energy is a bit lower, and you know, those kinds of things. So we just have to know how to listen, and we've never been taught that. It's not something that we ever learn in school, right? And I'm sure that it got lost somewhere in the generations, because I'm sure that, you know, Paleolithic people walked around, they ate what was available at that time, right? We're still not even though the Paleolithic diet, people think they know, I'm sure we don't 100% know exactly what was eaten all the time around the world for different human beings at different times, right? So that's why I like to just go with my own cues and try to support my clients to figure out what their body's trying to tell them. Sorry, that was really long-winded.
No, that's great. So what about intermittent fasting? That's come up in a few of the questions. Some people like it. I've personally been told it will be detrimental to me because I've got hormone imbalance issues right now. But some people are saying that they use it and it works quite well for them. So what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Can I just say, before this whole intermittent fasting came along, again, when I was working at the, so it's the bariatric clinic, but the old name was the obesity clinic, which I'm glad they changed that. But so many of my clients were, I'd say 90% of them were doing intermittent fasting without knowing it. And this was leading to a lot of the issues that they were having with
Interesting.
or inability to lose weight. So this whole intermittent fasting thing, I think people like it because there are a lot of people out there that don't eat breakfast. And so they're like, hey, this works for me. I don't have to eat till noon. That, and then the issue comes when you are starving and you start eating at noon or 2, or I don't know, whatever time it is that you're supposed to eat. And they don't consider what they're eating during those 8 hours that they're eating. They're just eating whatever and then starving again. So anyways, that's
It can also be quite dangerous too. And I always think about, like, we always want to go back to our primal state of warriors and like fighting and predators, and you know, and if you don't have breakfast, but you have a big 10 a.m. meeting or workout or something, like where's that energy coming for you to output and perform? So I always say eat to perform kind of deal. Either it's a meeting or it's a workout or it's just life, laundry, whatever. Eat to perform, because where's that energy going to come from?
I'd like to offer a little bit of an alternative perspective on this. I think in our society, we've been indoctrinated with the eat smaller meals more often. Unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, they don't hear the smaller meals part. They just hear eat more often. And so I think for a lot of years, what's happened is our meal sizes, our portion sizes have gotten really big, and we're eating all the time. And our body never has time to do any of the house cleaning. So when I talk about intermittent fasting or fasting at all, what I really just start with my clients is just stop eating after dinner and don't eat until breakfast. Your body could really use the 12 to 14 hours overnight, which is natural for our body. We eat with our circadian rhythm of the earth. When the sun's awake, I'm awake. When the sun goes to bed, I go to bed. And that shouldn't be a time where my body is concentrating on digestion. And just having that little bit of fasting, as opposed to taking it to the nth degree and having 24, I've heard people doing 7 day fasts, water fasts. I think that again is this pendulum swinging where we're talking about fasting, and the pendulum, and now fasting is way over here. It's good for you, so I'm going to do 7 days of it, right? As opposed to let's just start with like not eating overnight and giving our body time to digest and do some house cleaning and clean up. And then if that feels good, maybe a couple days you stretch that fast to 14 or 16 hours, right? If you have a huge workout or a big meeting, that's not the day you might do that. But on Saturday mornings when you sleep in, maybe you stretch that fast to like 14 hours or 15 hours, right? Listen to your body again and see how it feels. People try to force these things and force a certain way of eating and force the fast. And then they lose their energy and they end up sicker for it because someone told them it worked for them. So it'll work for me too, right? So we have to be cautious of that.
Excellent. I think the theme from what I'm hearing is listen to your own body because it's different than everybody else's. I think that's a hard lesson to learn for sure for a lot of people. I know it has been for me.
Yeah.
Like that comparisonitis disease.
Yes.
Right? The disease of comparing yourself to everyone else.
Yeah. And I think Megan, it was you that said learning to listen to ourselves and respect our bodies, and that, strong self-care and self-talk isn't taught in schools. But I think in a generation perspective, like for me, I watched my mom go through all the fad diets and the up and down, not only with her weight, but with her emotions and all that stuff. And it was hard for me to watch, but I think for them, that was what they knew at the time and the generation that we were raised in. So it's nice to see that shift changing now.
My wake-up call, Karen, with listening to my body and teaching my kids to listen to their body was when I potty trained my daughter. And instead of saying, do you have to go pee? Do you have to go pee? Let's sit on the toilet. It got really annoying and she hated me. So I just started saying, okay, listen to your body. Your body will tell you. And then I was like, wait a minute, when's the last time I listened to my body, right? What's it telling me? And that was like a huge aha moment for me. And it just changed our lives in our house. Like I never forced my kids to finish the food on their plate, right? It was like, okay, listen to your body. Is it telling you you're full, or is it telling you need more food, right? And that was a huge thing. And there was less and less fights about things and food and even bedtime. Like, is your body telling, like, be honest, is your body telling you you're tired? Let's get you to bed, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Really interesting shift.
And I think too, it's hard. It's so hard for us in the world that we live in now, because we're being told so many different things, whether it's in the media and the things we see on TV, or if it's from our health professionals. And I just really wanted to bring up this point because myself as a nurse, I've worked in public health for 9 years. And the unfortunate piece is that health professionals are among the highest amount of weight bias comes from health professionals. So going back to the numbers piece, if you go to your doctor and they say, oh, well, you know what, here's your height and weight, your BMI is this, you need to lose weight. We need to rethink that, because you're literally just comparing your height to your weight. And it's not a great measure of how healthy we are. And on the other side of that, if you go to your doctor with a concern, like I did, my doctor said, I think it was about PCOS or something. My doctor said to me, well, you don't look like someone who has PCOS. Well, I don't look like someone. So
Wow.
in society, we've given so much value to being thin or skinny and thinking that equals healthy, when in fact, I think probably a lot of people that I know who are thin naturally are probably the most unhealthy. They do, focus on what they're feeding their bodies and fueling. And then the other piece, even when it comes to and I don't have children myself, but working in public health for so many years, the focus on those numbers from day one on those babies is so huge. And so many moms would come in with their babies saying, oh, my doctor said my baby's underweight. Oh my gosh, like I'm just now force feeding it because it needs to gain weight, because on the curve, it might be, below the 3rd percentile or whatever. well, maybe that's that baby's normal. And when I had parents coming in and they, they're from the Philippines, they're small people and their babies are often below the 3rd percentile. But the doctor would say, well, that's not right. According to this number, you need to do whatever you can to get that baby to gain weight. And then we're just, so what I'm trying to say basically is it's really hard for us to navigate what we're being told from so many different people. And the biggest takeaway, I think, is ask questions. Go to the right people and the experts who, know a little bit more, because unfortunately, and how do I say this? Unfortunately, people are being told things by their health professionals who actually have no education on nutrition.
It's like 3 days in school, don't they? Like in their total school, isn't it like 3
I've
days?
heard it's 0.
Oh,
I heard 40 hours.
40?
Wow.
yeah.
40 hours.
And it's like 6 years of school and
Yeah.
they get that much allocated to nutrition. So it really makes you think about the Canada's food guide,
Mm-hmm.
right?
No kidding. Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. I feel like we could talk about this stuff for days and days, but we are reaching our time. So I'll pass it over to Caitlin to close out, and then we'll finish with a message from Candida.
Excellent. Yeah, I still have like so many more questions. You're right, Karen, this has been so valuable. And I really am blown away by that, like anywhere from 0 to 40 hours is it for our doctors. Like, man, thank goodness for ladies like you who are have educated yourselves and are sharing that with us. So we appreciate that. I want to do individual. Can you guys all hear me? Okay, good, because I'm having internet issues. I want to do an individual thank you. So Kelsey Davidson, owner of Alive Fitness. You can find her at alivefitnessandwellness.com. I'm going to paste this into the chat, everybody, so you'll have it. I will remember to check my poop. Thank you. I'll do that. And Megan Barefoot, owner of No Shoes Nutrition at noshoesnutrition.com. Check her out. I will look at the trend. Thank you. And I'm not going to focus on those little ups and downs and have that long-term vision. So I appreciate that. And Kelly Summers, owner of Summertime Health, summertimehealth.ca. Check her out. I will focus on behaviors and not the numbers. So thank you for that. All of you have been just amazing. Great session. I'm going to paste the contact information for each of these ladies into the chat. You'll have it. And I want to give a special thank you to our sponsors. Again, amazing prizes. You need to go get a membership. It's well worth it to get those door prizes. They won't be drawn till November. There's still time. You're not missing out on anything yet, and huge discounts available. So you guys are all amazing for doing that for us. Thank you. I want to thank our board members and our team for putting this all together. You've done a great job. Next week webinar, October 28th. Wednesday, WomenIN webinars is on self-care again, but we're going to look at spirituality, emotional and intellectual aspects. So we have spiritual coach Matthew Kellery McIntosh and yoga expert Alicia Bowman. So do not miss it. Spread the word. People can still register. It's going to be amazing. Thank you, everyone, for all your time. I'm going to hand it over to Candida, our fearless leader.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for those of you that are joining us. Thank you for those of you that have been on all our webinars. I've seen some names that you're really loyal to us. So thank you so much to the speakers. Thank you for taking the time to make this so valuable. Wow, like the chat was just on fire. Great questions, and that's what this is all about. We really want to ensure that we're taking care of each other, that we're taking care of ourselves first, and it's all about self-care. So thank you, everybody. I'm just really honored to just be in this space right now and know that it's just healthy and effective and that we can really help each other out. Thank you, everybody. Great job to the team. Have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for joining us today. This video was brought to you by WomenIN and Calgary's Business, featured on MegaPixx.